Hello and welcome to the Media Center's Local Hero Awards series, in which we showcase 6 people from the Mid-Peninsula for outstanding achievement or contributions to the community. We solicited nominations and were especially looking for the unsung heroes. Each winner is an inspiration and each has a great story to tell. Of the several youth programs in East Palo Alto, Girls to Women is the only one that's girl-centered. It leverages an array of existing community resources and uses a multi-pronged approach to help school-aged girls gain confidence and leadership skills through year-long programs in information technology, art, gardening, environmental education, safety, and fitness programs, supporting 75 low-income girls and their families annually. It was created by Patricia Foster over 10 years ago. She might be better known as former mayor and city council member of East Palo Alto, or for her long history of community service, including work with juvenile offenders and English language learners. As a woman of color and an immigrant herself, Patricia understands the challenges faced by many of her neighbors, and she's garnered a reputation for being a tireless, dedicated community volunteer who pretty much can't take no for an answer. Patricia, why did you create Girls to Women? Where did that come from?
Girls to Women came from a request by 3 mothers. At the time I was a member of the city council, and the child care or the after-school program that their daughters were attending closed. And they came to me to ask for a place, a safe and nurturing place for their daughters. And I was on the council. I needed to show some interest and be concerned and do all the right things. So I started off by looking through the community for a place. And I saw many vacant houses that were for rent. And I seriously considered, oh, this would be good, renting a place to hold this program. But realistically, I didn't have a penny and would not have been able to afford any rent. So I went off to St. Francis of Assisi Church and asked the priest there if he would let us have a room in the church, and he agreed to.
Tell me specifically about one program that you have with photography, and it takes place at Cafe Zoe.
Yeah, you are referring to the photography art program where we showcased the work of the girls at Cafe Zoe after 8 weeks of taking photographs. And at Cafe Zoe, we invite the community, we invite the parents, and of course the girls come. And the girls have selected one photograph from the 8 weeks of photo taking. And
so they've had an 8-week photography class first around a theme, and they've selected their favorite.
Good, yes, that's it.
Okay.
And the girls then get up and talk before the group about the photographs and the picture, what's in there. I remember vividly some time ago seeing a photograph on the wall with a chain link fence. And I wondered, why would anybody take a photo of that chain link fence? And when the girl got up to speak about that photo, she quickly said that she'd had some mental health problems. Mm-hmm. And apparently she's had them all her life. And she spoke very openly about them. I was really, really impressed. That's a great opportunity for girls to explore and share some of what's in their life. It helps them connect to each other. In that particular case, in one of the case, one girl got up there and she began to cry as soon as she started, and the whole group just surrounded her and, you know, encouraged her, and she continued on what she was about. So it helps the girls with public speaking, the openness and what their stories provide for them. There's an opportunity to grow during that time.
What was your plan, or did you have a plan about what you were hoping to achieve, and has it lived up to it or exceeded it?
It's exceeded it. Their stories inspire me in so many ways. What they talk about and how they speak about it, I, at that age, or even probably now, would not openly stand in front of a group and talk about it. And I think in doing so, there is a lot of growth that occurs in the people who will look at their stories and tell them openly.
What do you most want to give to these girls?
I want to give to them a sense of self-confidence, probably a sense of their uniqueness. It's just something to help them realize how important they are as each and every one of them as individuals, and also as a group. They've got a lot of strength. They face a world out there that's not kind to us in any way, and get them strong to face that world.
Yeah, tell me a little bit more about that world and why they need this. It doesn't sound like they're coming in already robust and gung-ho.
No, because they're coming straight from home and they're protected by their parents and community, but they're exposed to a lot. Racism, sexism. There is another word I want to think of. Body image, the sex image is a big one. The body image is another big one, because ideally in this culture, one has to look like a toothpick and fit a certain image. And for girls of color, we don't fit that. For women of color, that's not the image. So even that image building has to happen, and they have to be prepared for the world out there.
And do you see change over the time that they're there?
Yes. It happens all the time, and it's so nice to see it, and it's so rewarding, so fulfilling. I see the change when they're there. Then later on, I get the letters from them. I just got one that I read at least, I won't lie, at least 10 times. I don't even remember her. But after all these years, she's out at university, finishing her last year, and she tells me how much she appreciated the program. The program prepared her for what she's doing. And I can hardly believe it on some level, because it's been such a long time. Because she was 8 or 9 when she came to our program, and it's been a while. So what else about? Yeah, it really is. It also, what I find rewarding too in the program is that I keep using the word I. It takes a whole community to do that program. There are all kinds of people who come forward. In so many ways, other people contribute to what's going on at Girls to Women. It is a community.
What is special about what the program gives them that other programs can't give them or don't give them?
Because it's a small program and it's very grassroots, it's almost a home atmosphere. We know every girl. We know their parents. We work very closely with the parents. The parents rely on us for some things, and we rely on the parents too for other things. So that brings together a wholeness that you don't ordinarily get in other places.
And how important is the single-sex element?
More important than I ever imagined. For me, I was raised in a Catholic school, so I'm used to the single sex. But some time ago, there was a parent meeting, and we were killing time because we were waiting for someone. And I asked the parents, why did they want a single-sex school for the children? And the parents spoke about everything that you read about. Just off the hand, they said leadership. They feel the girls had a better chance of being able to lead in a setting where they weren't competing with the other gender. what else did they say? They said lots of powerful, strong things. So I can tell they, had thought through what they were getting into.
Now, you have talked about specifically discovering troubled girls. How do you know when somebody's troubled, and how do you help?
Probably once or twice when we first started, we encountered the troubled girl and actually had admitted her to the program. The troubled girl is not able to focus, hitting, fighting, picking on people, just wanting all the attention in the world and more. And there are lots of reasons why a girl may be doing that. And when that occurs, we have to rely on the professionals in the outer. So we bring in her parents or guardians. Oftentimes it may be a guardian, like a grandmother. Grandparents are raising some girls. And we refer them out to where they can help with the girl. But during the time of the referral and be it a semester or summer program, we do keep the girl on. And we bring in a lot of extra help. I remember one time when we had one girl that was so uncontrollable. And it was the summertime, and I couldn't see dropping her because she also she would shout at us, "I know you're going to drop me," and And so we brought in other women in the community to be by her side, to give her the attention she needed, to give her the support. And she was fine while there were other parents.
What do you think is most misunderstood about this whole community of the girls and their families?
I think for people outside, they look at the girls as not having the strength and the support that they have. I think they assume that there's something lacking in themselves. And what's really lacking are the resources. The parents come in and they know exactly what they want. The girls also want it too. And they have the love and support of parents. What we don't have are the resources and the opportunities to make it happen. And that's part of what Girls to Women does. We provide opportunities for girls that are not readily available around if they tried it on their own.
Well, now, in your larger career, political and otherwise, you've come across a lot of hardship, and I assume you continue to. Does that depress you?
No, because it can get you down sometimes, but when you're working and fighting it and pouring a lot of energy into what's wrong, it's just you work hard and you see you know what you have to overcome, so do the girls, and you almost help them instill that in that. If we can do it, and if people before them have done it, they too can do it, and it prepares them for it. So there's no time to get down.
Tell me about some of the most touching moments or the appreciation you've received.
There's so many, and it's the type of thing when you leave work, you feel grateful for what has, the end of the day, you feel grateful for people who've come through. And recently, I think I've been getting more from the former students, former staff, than where I've gotten it before. For example, I'll just tell this one right away. We do a 5K run every year as a fundraiser. And this year, and we have a sponsorship level. And this year, one of our former students came through with a check at the sponsorship level. I haven't seen that woman in many years. Excuse me.
That's nice.
I haven't seen that woman in many years, and I know she's out there, but when the check came, I could not believe my eyes. That is really nice, and that's very unusual. On Facebook, I see them going all kinds of places. There was one who always said she wanted to travel. I have traveled quite extensively, and she kept saying she would want to do it, and how did I do it? And now I see her on Facebook going to Italy.
Oh, nice.
Talking about a trip to Rome. It is really, really nice. So
I want to talk about the larger picture of your work, which is extensive. I get the impression that you've never sought the limelight. In fact, you've maybe even gone kicking and screaming into some of these public offices. But you're there, and you keep staying there, and you keep making a difference. I want to go back to where that came from in your childhood, because I understand there were some significant influences. Start out with your mother.
yeah, my mother was a super strong woman. And I hate to use the word super strong, but a woman with a lot of love and caring for her children, all 6 of us. In my case, it really took a lot of love and care to have me here today. By age 10, the doctors had said, before I was 10, doctors said I couldn't live with the asthma that I started when I was about 3 years old. I started with a lot of asthma. I was in St. Lucia at the time growing up, very, very far from all the research and all the care that an asthmatic child here has. And my mother spent many a night walking with me on her shoulders, and I'm not talking of a baby, a big person, just to help me get air into my lungs. Tried all kinds of medicines. Yeah, it was a hard childhood in that sense. I barely could attend school. They had to have somebody come and help tutor me. Fortunately, I had 4 siblings before me, and they could help me with staying, afloat in school. Yeah, it was a tough time. I guess what I learned then was how much care and love can sustain you. That's what I got from my mother. She was very, very resourceful, and all of these, I think, I picked up from her.
And presumably a resilience and a determination.
That's right. We can't, that has to be there. That has to be there.
Now, another part of your formative years had to do with the church. At one point, I believe you were planning to be a nun. What happened?
Well, I wasn't planning. Other people were planning it for me. I heard many a conversation about being a nun. It never really was there for me. I, at an early age, joined a club after school. As much as I attended that, I could have attended. I was at a club, and the club was called the Legion of Mary. And I know it was once a week we went to this club. We did a lot of rosary praying and had to do an hour of community service every week. And with my mother's love and the community service, my mother also was one who would help. Our main meal was at lunchtime in the middle of the day, noon. And when our meal was being prepared, I would hear my mother say, "Remember, we must send some to this person and that person." Anybody who was sick got a full course meal coming from us. It was from my mother. I shouldn't say us, because I didn't think anything of it. And it was probably about as many as 8 people. So community service and the spiritual world, the church was very much in my life, part of my life.
So looking back to your childhood in St. Lucia and where you are now, if you could import any qualities about that culture and offer them to this culture, what would you like to do?
Now, wait a minute. The culture in St. Lucia that I grew up in?
Right.
Oh, there was a lot of sharing, a lot of generosity, a lot of kindness in the culture that I grew up in. Not very many people. Over 90% of the people were Catholics. And it seemed to me like everybody was practicing that faith at the time. Maybe it wasn't so, but for me, the child, I saw it happening. It was the roadmap to how you ought to live. And looking back, I can see where, there were a lot of terrible things happening in the church at the time. And I say so, my father was Anglican, and we were forced to be all Catholics. He had to agree to have us be baptized Catholic. And I was told in school that my father would never ever be in heaven because he had not been baptized Catholic.
But some of that, it sounds like some of that community spirit is what you'd like to import.
That's right. That's the community spirit I'd love to import. And again, it was a smaller place than this place here. I sort of find that in East Palo Alto too, some of that community spirit.
Nice. Well, and I think you are responsible for building it in large part in many ways.
Well, I'm just a part, one of the many people.
Well, you're certainly doing great work with Girls to Women. So don't give up on that one. Thank you for coming, and congratulations on your award.
Thank you.
Do you know someone who has overcome significant hardship and has an inspiring story to tell? Someone who has sacrificed or given over and above to the community and deserves some recognition? If so, please contact us with your nomination for next year's Local Hero Awards. To find out more about our local heroes and to watch interviews with all the winners, visit our website, midpenmedia.org. At the Mid-Peninsula Community Media Center, you can make your own videos and television programs and take classes in all aspects of media production. You can also hire our professional services team. To find out more about that, go to mcproservices.com. Congratulations to all our winners, and thank you for watching.